You are seeing this because it is finally your turn to win. This is not a coincidence. Carl Jung discovered that before a major breakthrough, the psyche emits specific signals. Most people miss them. They stay stuck in patterns of loss, wondering why victory never comes. But you clicked this video. That means your unconscious is ready. Jung called these moments synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that appear random but are not. They are the universe organizing itself around your readiness to evolve. And right now, in this exact moment, you are standing at the gateway between who you were and who you are about to become. Here is what terrifies most people about winning. It is not the fear of failure, it is the fear of success. Jung discovered something he called the golden shadow. We repress our light just as deeply as we repress our darkness. We hide our competence, our brilliance, our power. Why? Because winning comes with responsibility. When you step into your full potential, you can no longer blame circumstances. You can no longer play the victim. You become accountable for the life you create. And that terrifies people more than staying small ever could. But before we go deeper, you need to understand why you have been losing. It is not bad luck. It is not the universe conspiring against you. You have been addicted to losing because losing is familiar. Your nervous system knows how to process defeat. It has practiced that pattern for years, maybe decades. Winning feels dangerous because it is unknown territory. Your brain interprets unknown as threat, so it sabotages you right before breakthrough. It keeps you in the cycle. You know, even when that cycle destroys you. Jung spent decades studying this pattern. He watched patients approach their greatest victories only to implode at the last moment. They would get the job offer and miss the interview. They would meet the perfect partner and push them away. They would build the business and abandon it right before success. He realized this was not weakness. This was the psyche protecting itself from the terror of transformation. Because transformation means death, not physical death, psychological death, the death of your old identity, the death of the person who knew how to lose but does not know how to win. Right now, your psyche is preparing for that death. And there are specific signs that reveal when this turn is coming. Jung called the first sign Enantiodromia. This is when things flip from one extreme to its opposite. When life gets darkest before the light. When you hit rock bottom right before the breakthrough. Most people interpret this darkness as evidence they are failing. They give up right before the transformation. But Jung understood this darkness differently. He saw it as the psyche clearing out old patterns to make room for new ones. The pressure you feel right now is not life crushing you. It is life preparing you. The second sign is the sudden loss of interest in old habits and relationships. Things that used to comfort you suddenly feel empty. People you used to tolerate suddenly feel unbearable. Jung called this the psyche withdrawing energy from what no longer serves growth. Your unconscious is already moving toward the new reality, but your conscious mind has not caught up yet. So you feel disconnected, restless, like you are waiting for something you cannot name. This is not depression, this is readiness. The third sign is what Jung called the pressure cooker feeling. You sense something building inside you, an energy, an urgency, a knowing that change is coming. You cannot explain it logically, you just feel it in your body. Your sleep changes, your appetite changes. You feel agitated and alive at the same time. This is your psyche generating the psychological pressure needed to break through to the next level. Most people try to suppress this feeling with distractions, addictions, and busyness. But that only delays the inevitable. The pressure will keep building until you allow the transformation. Here is where it gets dangerous. When victory is close, self-sabotage kicks in hardest. Jung documented this pattern across hundreds of cases. Right before major breakthroughs, patients would unconsciously destroy their progress. They would start fights with therapists. They would miss crucial sessions. They would create crises that derailed their healing. Jung realized this was not resistance to therapy. This was resistance to individuation, resistance to becoming fully yourself, because your full self has power, and power means you can no longer hide behind excuses. Think about the last time you were close to winning something important. What happened? Did you procrastinate at the crucial moment? Did you pick a fight with someone who could have helped you? Did you suddenly become ill or exhausted? These are not random events. These are your psyche trying to protect you from the terror of success. Because success means you have to maintain that new level. You have to live up to your potential. You have to take responsibility for your power. And that feels more dangerous than staying stuck. But here is the truth no one tells you. Winning is not about luck. It is not about timing. It is not about the right circumstances finally appearing. Winning is about allowing. It is about stopping your resistance to your own evolution. Jung discovered that people do not fail because they lack ability. They fail because they cannot tolerate the psychological reality of success. They cannot handle being seen. They cannot handle having power. They cannot handle the responsibility that comes with winning. So they sabotage themselves. They create the familiar pattern of loss. They confirm their identity as the struggler, the victim, the one who almost makes it, but never quite does. This identity feels safe. It feels known. It feels like home. Even when that home is burning down around them, even when staying there destroys everything they claim to want. Empaths aren't broken. They're alchemists in progress. The Alchemist's Path gives you drills, Jung-based boundaries, and 3 exclusive chapter videos to turn overwhelm into clarity. By Surreal Mind, 236-page downloadable ebook in stock. Begin now at thesurrealmind.com. Right now, you are being asked to burn that home down yourself, to step out of the identity of the loser and into the identity of the winner. And this is terrifying, because the winner identity has no script. You do not know how to be that person yet. You have not practiced that pattern. Your nervous system does not recognize that frequency. So it feels dangerous and wrong, and like you are pretending to be someone you are not. But here is what Jung understood that changes everything. You are not becoming someone new. You are becoming who you actually are, beneath all the conditioning and trauma and fear. The winner is your true self. Time 0.6. The loser is the mask you wore to survive a world that punished your light. You learned to play small because playing big got you hurt. You learned to fail because succeeding made others uncomfortable. You learned to sabotage yourself because your success threatened the people around you. Jung called this the collective unconscious pressure. When you start to evolve beyond your family system, your friend group, your culture, the collective unconscious pushes back. It tries to pull you back into the familiar pattern. It uses shame, guilt, fear, and doubt to keep you in line. Because when one person breaks free, it threatens everyone else who is still stuck. Your freedom becomes a mirror that shows them their own cage. And most people would rather attack the mirror than examine their imprisonment. This is why winning feels lonely at first. When you step into your power, you step out of the collective agreement to stay small. People who were comfortable with the losing version of you become uncomfortable with the winning version. They liked you better when you needed them, when you struggled like they struggle, when you confirmed their belief that success is impossible. Your victory challenges that belief, so they withdraw their support, their friendship, their approval, and this feels like punishment. But Jung understood this differently. He saw this withdrawal as confirmation that you are on the right path. When you individuate, when you become fully yourself, you will lose people. You must lose people. Because those relationships were built on your false self, your small self, your losing self. They cannot survive your transformation into your winning self. And that is not tragedy. That is liberation. Here is the climax of everything Jung discovered about winning. You do not need to become someone different. You need to stop pretending to be someone you are not. The winner is already inside you. It has always been inside you. You have just been hiding it, suppressing it, denying it because the world taught you that your power was dangerous, that your success would threaten others, that your light would blind people who prefer darkness. So you dimmed yourself. You made yourself smaller, quieter, less threatening. You learned to lose gracefully because winning was not safe. And now, after years or decades of this pattern, your psyche is done. It is ready to stop pretending. It is ready to let you win. But you have to choose it. You have to consciously decide to stop identifying as the victim, the struggler, the one who never quite makes it. You have to claim the winner identity even though it feels unfamiliar and scary and wrong. This is the psychological shift that changes everything. When you stop waiting for permission to win, when you stop needing circumstances to be perfect, when you stop requiring everyone to approve of your success, when you simply decide that you are done losing and ready to win, reality reorganizes itself around that decision. Not through magic, through psychology. When you embody the winner frequency, you make different choices, you see different opportunities, you take different actions, and those actions create different results. Jung called this the individuation process, the journey from unconscious living to conscious choosing, from reactive existence to creative power, from being lived by life to living life deliberately. And this process requires specific psychological steps. First, you must recognize your addiction to losing. You must see how you have been unconsciously creating failure to maintain a familiar identity. You must catch yourself in the act of self-sabotage. Watch yourself procrastinate. Notice yourself picking fights. Observe yourself creating crises right before breakthroughs. Do not judge these patterns. Just see them clearly. Second, you must integrate your golden shadow. You must reclaim the power, competence, and brilliance you have been hiding. This means acknowledging that you are capable of far more than you have been allowing yourself to achieve. It means admitting that you have been playing small, not because you lack ability, but because you fear responsibility. It means owning that you are actually extraordinary, but have been pretending to be ordinary to avoid threatening others. Time 0.6. Third, you must grieve the losing identity. You must let it die. Not violently, not with shame, but with compassion. That identity served you. It kept you safe when safety was survival. It protected you when you were too young or too wounded to protect yourself. But it has outlived its usefulness. Now it is a prison, and you must walk out of that prison even though it feels like home. Even though leaving feels like dying. Because it is dying, the death of who you were, so you can become who you are. Fourth, you must claim the winner identity before you have evidence. This is the hardest part. You must start being the winner before you start winning. You must embody that frequency before reality reflects it back to you. This feels like lying. It feels like pretending. It feels like you are a fraud. But Jung understood that all transformation requires this uncomfortable bridge period. You cannot wait until you feel like a winner to start acting like one. You must act like one until you become one. This means making choices from the winner consciousness, even when your circumstances scream loser. It means showing up with confidence, even when you feel terrified. It means speaking your truth, even when your voice shakes. It means taking action, even when you have no guarantee of success. Because winners do not wait for certainty. They create certainty through committed action. They decide what they want and move toward it, regardless of fear, doubt, or external validation. Fifth, you must protect your transformation from collective unconscious pressure. When you start winning, people will try to pull you back. They will question your choices. They will remind you of your failures. They will predict your downfall. They will use concern as a weapon to reinstall your losing identity. You must see this for what it is. Not love, not protection, collective fear. The group mind trying to prevent your evolution because your success threatens their excuses. Jung taught his patients to expect this resistance and prepare for it. He told them that true individuation requires psychological independence. You must learn to trust your own inner knowing more than external opinions. You must value your growth more than others' comfort. You must choose your evolution even when it costs you relationships, approval, and belonging. Because the alternative is staying small forever to make others comfortable. And that is not love. That is self-abandonment. Sixth, you must learn to tolerate success without sabotaging it. This is where most people fail. They finally break through. They finally start winning. And then their nervous system panics because success feels unfamiliar and dangerous. So they unconsciously destroy what they built. They pick fights. They make terrible decisions. They create crises that return them to the familiar losing pattern. Jung called this the regression reflex, the psyche attempting to return to known territory when new territory feels too threatening. To override this reflex, you must train your nervous system to recognize success as safe. You do this through repetition and conscious choice. Every time you feel the urge to sabotage, you pause, you breathe. You remind yourself that this discomfort is not danger. It is just unfamiliarity. It is your system adjusting to a new frequency. You do not need to act on the urge. You just need to let it pass through you while you continue moving forward. Over time, winning becomes as familiar as losing used to be. Your nervous system stops resisting it, and you can finally maintain the success you create. Seventh, you must understand that winning is not a destination. It is a practice. You do not win once and finish. You win every day through conscious choices that align with your highest self. Some days this feels easy. Some days this feels impossible. But you keep choosing it regardless of how you feel. Because feelings are not facts. They are just nervous system responses to stimuli. And you are learning to act from consciousness instead of conditioning, from choice instead of compulsion, from power instead of programming. Jung believed that people who successfully complete this process become what he called individuated. They are no longer controlled by collective unconscious patterns. They are no longer slaves to conditioning and fear. They are conscious creators of their reality. They win not because they are lucky, but because they are psychologically aligned with winning. They embody the frequency they want to experience, and reality has no choice but to reflect that frequency back to them. This is your turn to win, not because the universe suddenly decided to be kind, but because you are finally ready to let yourself win. You are finally done with the losing identity. You are finally willing to step into your power even though it feels terrifying. You are finally ready to take responsibility for your potential instead of hiding behind excuses. And that readiness is everything. The signs are already appearing in your life. The pressure, the restlessness, the dissatisfaction with what used to be enough, the sense that something is about to change. These are not random. These are your psyche preparing for transformation. Your unconscious is ready. The only question is whether your conscious mind will cooperate or resist. Will you allow the shift or fight it? Will you claim the winner identity or cling to the losing one? Here is what you need to do right now. First, acknowledge that you have been choosing to lose, not consciously, but unconsciously, through sabotage, procrastination, and settling. See this pattern without judgment. Just acknowledge it exists. Second, decide that you are done. Make a conscious choice that losing is no longer acceptable, that you will no longer betray your potential to maintain comfort. Third, identify one action you can take today that aligns with the winner identity. not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Today, now, while the energy of this realization is alive in you. Fourth, expect resistance. From yourself, from others, from life itself. When that resistance comes, do not interpret it as evidence that you are failing. Interpret it as evidence that you are transforming. The bigger the resistance, the bigger the breakthrough on the other side. Fifth, find people who can witness your transformation without trying to stop it. You cannot do this alone. You need allies who understand individuation, who have walked this path themselves, who can hold space for your evolution without trying to control it. Sixth, commit to the daily practice of choosing from your highest self instead of your conditioned self. Every morning, ask yourself what the winner version of you would do today. Then do that, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it feels like pretending, especially when it feels like pretending, because that is how you bridge the gap between who you were and who you are becoming. You act as if until you become. This is finally your turn to win, because you are finally ready to let yourself win. The universe has been waiting for this readiness. Your unconscious has been preparing for this moment. Everything that brought you to this video, everything that made you click, everything that kept you watching until now was synchronicity, meaningful coincidence. The universe organizing itself around your evolution. And now you know what that means. Now you understand the psychological reality beneath the mystery. You are standing at the gateway between your old life and your new one, between the losing identity and the winning identity, between unconscious living and conscious creating. The choice is yours. You can close this video and go back to the familiar pattern. You can pretend you did not hear what you just heard. You can convince yourself that this does not apply to you, or you can step through the gateway. You can claim your power. You can become who you actually are. Jung spent his life showing people this path, not because he wanted to make them happy, but because he understood that human consciousness is trying to evolve, and that evolution happens one person at a time. Every individual who completes their individuation process makes it easier for others to do the same. Your transformation is not just personal, it is collective. When you stop losing and start winning, you change the frequency of possibility for everyone around you. You become living proof that transformation is real. So this is finally your turn to win, not because you deserve it more than others, but because you are finally willing to claim it. You are finally ready to stop hiding your light to make others comfortable. You are finally done betraying your potential to maintain belonging. You are finally choosing your evolution over your excuses. And that choice changes everything. If you are ready to fully step into this winning timeline, subscribe to this channel, because we are going deeper into Jung's discoveries about psychological transformation. We are exploring the shadows, the archetypes, the unconscious patterns that control most people. And we are learning how to break free, how to individuate, how to become fully yourself in a world that demands conformity. Welcome to your new timeline. This is where everything changes. This is where you stop losing and start becoming who you were always meant to be. In the alchemist's path, perception training for empaths, you'll turn overwhelm into wisdom with practical drills, Jung-inspired boundaries, and step-by-step perception training. This guide includes 3 exclusive chapter videos to deepen each lesson. Written by Surreal Mind, 236 pages, beautifully designed 8.5 by 11 downloadable ebook, in stock now. Start your training today. Feel deeply while thinking clearly. Get the Alchemist's Path at thesurrealmind.com.